Hello again, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and today I'd like to share with you a card I made using a pre-release of the Butterfly Bouquet stamp set. It's available in a bundle beginning on March the 2nd. It also can be purchased, as I said, as a bundle with the coordinating dies that are just amazing and absolutely complement this stamp. And it is one stamp that then cuts out these 6 butterflies all in one fell swoop. And I will show you how to do that. And I'm pairing it with the ridiculously awesome stamp set because I think it just goes together so well. And I'm using a sketch. It's a sketch challenge that I found on Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 472, and I will have a link back to their page on in my description, as well as on my blog, justalittle.ink.com. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. Beginning March the 2nd, you can purchase this. And you can do that on my website, justalittle.ink.stampinup.net. The other thing is, if you don't want to wait, you can sign up to be a demonstrator through Stampin' Up! And one of the perks of being a demonstrator is you get to purchase things early. And so you could choose to purchase this ahead of time. And so let's get started to show you the simple things you need in order to begin. So I've got some jewels there, but we want to start on the other end. So what I'm using is a half a sheet of our gray granite cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. All of these measurements I'll have on my blog. You need a quarter sheet, 4 by 5 1/4 of our basic white. I also need a piece of basic white in order to stamp and cut out those butterflies, and this is cut at 6 1/4 by 5. It's the best piece I've found for that. Oh, and then I also need, I think I didn't, oh yeah, it's right here. You also need a piece of gray granite cardstock cut at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and then a piece of Calypso coral to back it with. That one is at 4 5 1/4. And then you also need a piece of scrap of your gray granite so that we can get those neat little bricks that are here. And so let's get started. I think the easiest way to begin is to show you how, see, here's the stamp set. It's all one big stamp that cuts all of those. It stamps them all at one time. And I do think that that's the best way to do this. I've got a blotter sheet and I have a piece of adhesive. I'll link that to you. It's something that you can purchase off of Amazon. It is not something that Stampin' Up! Sells. I'm going to line up my paper, and then I can just have that down here. So the nice thing about that is it keeps it nice and sticky. And that's not quite where I want it. So I'm going to move it over. All right. And I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black Memento ink because I am going to be coloring these with Stampin' Blends. I'll show you some that I've done with this one color. I see a lot of things in this. And if I hadn't said it, this is going to be available in the catalog coming in May, but this is a chance to get it early. Come down. Stamparatus just works out really well in order to stamp and get a nice inking. It's a nice big stamp, and so the advantage I have is then, so like up here, it doesn't want to ink. So if I give a little more pressure, nice thing is I can come back down. So I'm going to pull that off. Let it sit there for just a minute. It's a little inky. And I'm going to turned it off. I have a little portion of one of our Simply chamois. I keep them cut. They stay moist. I keep them in a Ziploc baggie. And I find that just is the quickest way for me to clean my Stamparatus. I don't have to reach for anything else. Okay, get that out of the way. And I can turn it over for when we're ready for the rest of our card. All right, so these get punched out with a die. So we're going to use our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And what I have found is the easiest way to do that is to line it up. And I've shared this before. You want to keep some little pieces of some old washi tape. Don't need very much, but you need a little bit. So you're going to line up on the one end and then on the opposite corner, like so. I then run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I've already done that. And when you do, you end up with all these pieces, which is just so much fun. Some of these are doubles because I've done some in black and some in our Misty Moonlight. But it cuts them out so quick and easy, so fast. This is what you'd be left with. Just great. So I've already done that, and I've already colored mine just to kind of save some time, using both Daffodil Delight and some Mango Melody, and then also some Calypso Coral. I also filled in the body with some of the basic black of our Stampin' Blends. And I also cut, I didn't say this part, a little piece of the Calypso Coral. There are all these other little dies that come in this set. And I just cut one plain. So then I've got this piece for the front. Remember, this is our card. I want to stamp the Let Your Faith, and then I'm going to put on these bricks. So I have lined up, again in my Stamparatus, where I want this. What you will notice, I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off so you can see, is it's Let Your Faith Be Bigger Than Your Fear. So there's actually more there than what I want. And so I'm going to show you how I did some elimination stamping. Let's see, right here, make sure that's where I'd wanted it. Okay, one option is to take my Stampin' Write marker. There's two ends, a writing end and a brush end, and to take it with the brush end only on the section that I want. This is one way to do elimination stamping. And coming down. Normally it's better if you can blow on this. If I'm fairly quick with the Stamparatus, then I can come and stamp, press, lift up, depending on if I'm happy with that. I think it could use just a little more. So I'm going to go over it one more time. And then I'm going to show you on the inside how I would do the rest of it. Okay, like so. Then I'm going to pull this out. We need to clean that because if I don't, I'm going to end up inking the Let Your Faith again, and I don't want to ink it again. So I'm going to wipe that off. I'm going to put my blotter in here just to kind of make sure I've taken off any ink that might be there. Okay, and I'm going to need to move that. So for on the inside, and I like to space out a little bit, this corner sometimes makes it interesting to ink if you've got something too close to the corner. So I'm going to come here. Okay, I want to line it up again, but this time I want it higher because I'm only wanting on the inside for it to say bigger than your fear. So I'm going to put it down. It'll grab it. It'll pull it out of the way. And so the other way that you could do elimination stamping is to come in here, and I'm going to cover up with some washi. I'm going to make sure I grab all the stamp. It wastes a little bit of it, but you know what? If you have excess, this works out really not too bad. Then I'm going to pull out the stamp set, or the stamp pad, excuse me, my Greg Granite stamp pad. And I'm going to stamp it, ink it up, just like I would if I was going to stamp without. Then I just want to make sure to pull all this off. And you'll see that that has left the upper part uninked. And if I'm careful and don't push too hard, I won't catch any of that. So I'm going to stamp, press it in, and you see that it has then bigger than your fear. So those are the two different ways to be able to do elimination stamping. So I'll pull this out. We'll set this out of the way. So now we've got our two parts. So then I want to be able to run and do my bricks. And so how I did that, I have my scrap piece, I have a blotter, and I'm going to take my stamp pad and I'm going to direct to paper ink it up. So I want a little bit of color on it. Kind of drag it a little bit, gives it a little texture. I don't want it covered all the way. Inked that fairly recently, so it's pretty juicy. Then I'm going to pull out my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This is the mini. Makes it really nice on my stamp table. I'm going to put my piece of paper in there, and then I'm going to pull off. So there's this brick or stone die. Stick it in the center. I hope it doesn't move around on me. And I'm going to run it through. And I'm going to show you how quick this goes. So pull that here. Pull it off. So when I pull it out, it took one piece here. So here we go. So if I take one I've already done, works out the easiest. I'm going to kind of line it up how I want it. I want it about here. Then I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm just going to put a line in the center pieces of the glue where they should line up, like so. And then I'm going to start filling in the blanks with all the pieces that came out. I'm sure there's going to be a million other ways that ladies have figured out how to do this, gents who are stampers. So just like so. Each one's going to have a little bit a different look simply because direct to stamp inking gives you different looks. But I thought it gave me a nice look of stone. And there, and I've got one more. Like so, and then if I'm careful, I can lift this off. And I have some stone. And then all I have left to do is lift up my butterflies. So I'm using some Stampin' Dimensionals. I've snipped around the edges because this way I can use all of my dimensionals. Stick one here. I think I want this butterfly up here. I'm going to take the yellow butterfly and stick it on the lower. You might lift up a little, but that works. Come over here. And then I'm going to layer it onto my Calypso Coral layer with some Stampin' Seal. Now, if you've tried our Stampin' Seal, it is some great adhesive once you kind of get used to the simplicity of how it comes out. And then this little butterfly I stuck on the inside down here. Again, with just some of our liquid glue. Don't need a lot. Put my little butterfly here. So then I have my pieces to stick inside my card. I have just a couple little things to embellish with. Use my bone folder. I've already scored that. And I don't want to lift this up. I want this to go down flat. So I'm just going to layer it on the inside. Today's a great day to be inside stamping. In most of the country it's pretty cold. Here I think our high is maybe 3. But I know in the north part of the country it's well below 0, so great day to be inside. So I'll put this on the inside of my card. I just think this would be a great card to encourage someone who maybe is struggling a little bit. And we all know someone who's struggling. So, like so. And then to bling it up a little bit, I'm going to pull out my pick tool and grab a cup. Well, might snick them all over the place. Grab the other end. I'm going to stick a gem here. So these are just some of our basic jewels. These are the rhinestones. Here, and I like 3s. I like odd numbers. If you have been on my videos, you know that about me. Kind of odd numbers. I'll put my cap on this end. And then I think those butterflies need a little more bling. So I'm going to pull out my Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to give a little shimmer. You may not see it real well on the camera. We'll do our best to see if we can't lift it up and let you see it. But a little bit of bling here. And again, a little bling on the other side. Gives just a little bit of shimmer, and it dries really fast, so I don't have to worry about it smearing anywhere else. Just a subtle amount of shimmer, and I give his body a little shimmer too. So it'll dry like so. Lift it up a little bit. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in there or not, but just like that, I've got a fairly quick card. And again, this was sketch number 472. And hopefully that encourages you and kind of inspires you to think about the Butterfly Bouquet Bundle. There's also some wonderful papers and available only during this promotion. And this, again, will only go until May the 3rd. So thanks so much. Again, if you haven't subscribed, I would so appreciate it if you did. And if you would click on the bell, you'll make sure to receive notifications anytime I have new videos. Thanks again.